Grace is a fast-paced game inspired by games like Doors, Rooms, and even Pizza Tower. The player is tasked with running for as long as possible while avoiding both monsters and obstacles in their way. As far as I know, this game is endless and gets harder the longer you run, as entities will begin to attack you more frequently the more rooms you pass. So you'll have to find a balance between slowing down to deal with them while also quickly progressing before the timer runs out. This game has mild lore, which I want to talk about at the end of this video, but for now, let's talk about the main things that will get in the player's way during a run. And those would be Starting in order, we have Carnation, a plant-like creature that's attack is signified by a pink outline on the screen, and after a short while, Carnation will charge from behind, and if the player hasn't found a place to hide, then they will instantly die. Hiding spots for Carnation are signified by lights and are hard to miss. Slight is a horizontal eye with a blue aura around it. Don't look at it and it won't attack you, but if you do look at it, then your vision will start to blur and negative words will start to flash on your screen periodically, and doing this again will kill you. Slight can be looked at before opening the room he's in, so use that to your advantage. Slugfish is a gray fish monster whose attack is indicated by white tentacles moving around the screen. After 5 seconds, it will charge through the middle of the rooms at a faster pace than Carnation. Stick to the sides of the room and you'll be alright. Elkman is a black tentacle monster with a bright lamp for a face, and once he sees you, he will start to melt you slowly. The way to avoid this is simply breaking line of sight, usually by hiding in the previous room or just going through him. Heed is a red vertical eye that's completely opposite to Slight, as in you need to constantly look at him while in the room or you'll get attacked. A tip for dealing with him is that you can open doors wall backwards, but if it's a locked door, then you're kinda cooked unless you have like god-like reaction speed. Dozer is a sleeping yellow smiley face that appears on the screen. After around 3 to 4 seconds, Dozer will open his eyes and kill anyone he sees moving. Dealing with him is easy as all you have to do is stand still and crouch. He'll usually appear while Carnation is active and should be your top priority. Sorrow is Bloody Rain, and its attack is signaled by the room turning red and bloody raindrops falling on the screen. After around 3 seconds, it will start to pour heavy rain, which will crush anyone underneath it. The only way to deal with it is by finding cover in a room, but you can also hide in a doorway if you have no other option. It can also appear alongside Dozer and Carnation, so be careful of that. Finally, Goatman is the entity that spawns if the player's timer runs out before they find a safe room. Its presence is made clear by the screen changing color and music becoming eerie. It can appear anywhere during this time and will make this sound the closer it gets to the player. Luckily, the Goatman can be dealt with by either entering the safe room or by flashing it when it gets close enough, although flashing it only delays it for some time, so just get to a safe room as soon as you can. Alright, now with that section out of the way, let's dig into a tiny bit of the lore for Grace. Okay, to start off, you're going to be given most of the lore when you die because, well, it's kind of hard to tell a story while you're constantly running for your life. But anyways, once you finally succumb during one of your runs, you're greeted with this being. Yeah, so it states things like, "You tread on a path I readied for you, a path to bring you to me. I will always love you. Will you always love me? I'm no evil. Feel torture there, feel embrace here." This thing is definitely cryptic, but taking this all at face value and picking apart its words, it seems as if this being isn't hostile and is actually wanting to help us. It created a path for us to get to it, that being the rooms we run through, and I'm also going to assume it created the entities that try to stop us. Now, this might seem a little crazy, but what I think this thing is Grace's version of God. All the evidence for this is right in his words. It's not evil, it embraces us, wants us to love it, and makes a path for us to reach it. Also, this game's thumbnail is literally a cross, like, come on. But this does spark a question. Why did it make a path with a bunch of deadly monsters that want to kill us? The answer is a little bit complex. What is happening here is that the eye is testing us. It is seeing if we are worthy enough to reach it and accept its embrace. So it's kind of like a path of redemption. I believe our character is a sinner of sorts, and the I, or God, created the monsters as a reflection of our sins. Now, so far, I've only been able to pin down 4 of the 7 deadly sins onto 4 entities. Those being slight as a sin of envy, seeing how it constantly stares at us and flashes negative words at us if it attacks. Heed being the sin of pride, as we have to constantly stare at it, and since the sin of pride is an excessive love for oneself, it makes sense. Dozer is a sin of sloth, since you have to stand completely still while crouching to avoid it. And slugfish is the sin of greed, since it runs through the middle of the doors, forcing the player to stop going through them and wait, or else they will die. For the rest of the sins like lust, wrath, and gluttony, I want to say sorrow is lust, Elkman is wrath, and carnation is gluttony, but honestly, it's nearly impossible to explain the reasoning behind those sins, so we're just going to ignore them. Also, 2 final things I want to say about the entities before we wrap this video up is that carnation has a bigger meaning than what we expected. Okay, so to begin, carnation is a real flower and it symbolizes love. This love being either familial love, romantic, or platonic. Now, I'm sure this thing doesn't want to date us unless some of you freaks are into that, so let's assume it's the familial type of love, which would tie into the I loving us like we're its family, which would give it more believability to being God. There is also the fact that if we look at the scientific name of a carnation, that being Dianthus caryophyllus, its meaning in Greek is flower of God. Need I say more? There's also the goat man, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to be the devil, so I don't think I really have to dig in deep of explaining much there, besides the fact that the devil is always waiting for your time to run out before attacking you, and since we're sinners of some sort, it's kind of symbolic in a way. I don't know. To summarize, we the player are most likely a sinner. The I is God, and it is attempting to redeem us by leading us through a path it created that's filled with a bunch of monsters that may reflect on the player's sins. And by finally beating the game or reaching the I/God, we will have fully abolished our sins and accept God's embrace. At the end of the day, Grace is a fun and challenging game that I recommend you play immediately. It isn't even finished yet and already has so much potential. If I'm right or wrong about the lore, it doesn't matter since it's bound to change as the game progresses to its final stage, so take anything I say in this video with a huge pinch of salt. If you have anything you'd like to add or take away from the video despite all that, then please say so in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, then make sure to like and subscribe and join my Discord too. This has been Super Dirtplex. Thank you all for listening to me yap, and peace.